for joining me again for another Create a Smile video. It's Justine here, and we're going to learn how to make this card. We're going to look at die cutting and using those as a background, as well as blending and Copic coloring today. I apologize, I've been quite ill over the last couple weeks, and so if my voice isn't completely back to normal, so I'm sorry if I sound very like I have a cold and I'm nasally. I just did a subtitled video last week, so I'm just getting back into it now. Alright, so I'm going to start off with a Candied Apple ink. This is one of the newest colors from Tim Holtz, or actually the newest, I believe. And I am slowly blending into the corner of my card. Some tips for blending that I can share with you is what really made a difference for me was switching from a rectangular blending tool to a circular blending tool. Another thing is tap it off on your craft mat a couple times and start on the craft mat when you blend and work your way into the cardstock. This will help eliminate lines. And another thing I was doing wrong, or I guess in my way that wasn't really working too well for me, was I was pushing too hard. I actually put no pressure on this card whatsoever. I just kind of put enough pressure so that it would get from the craft mat over top of the cardstock. And that was actually proved to be quite good. So I'm just going to speed you up a little bit here so that you're not getting too bored and we can focus on the other techniques as well. So now that I've sort of faded off into my card, I'm just going to wipe off my craft mat there. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting out using the Tiny Sentiments die from Create a Smile stamps. I'm going to be cutting out this love sentiment multiple times. And in order to make my life easier, I'm going to be using some stick-it paper. Now, stick-it paper is made by Ken Oliver, I believe, and what it is you peel off one side of the stick-it paper and you stick it onto the cardstock that you are going to die cut. Once you die cut the cardstock and you have your die in your hand, you can peel off the back of it. And what that's going to do is it's going to leave your die sticky without having you to deal with liquid glue or any sort of things like that on intricate dies. So it's definitely a must-have in my books because I love to cut with intricate dies, but I absolutely hate gluing them onto my card. So this is a really great way to not have to worry about that. So I'm going to send this through my die cutting machine, this love, probably about 10 times, maybe even more, and I'm just going to cut as many as I see fit to go along my background. Now, I'm not going to show you the die cutting of all 12 of these sentiments because that would get boring after a while, but you can see I just kind of saved time by not running the actual platform through my entire machine, just through partially until the die cut has gone through, and then I can peel off the Ken Oliver stick-it, and then I just stick it onto my background, and I'm just going to create a random pattern with the same word over and over again to create a really neat background. This does take a little bit of time and is a little bit time consuming. So if you wanted to speed it up, you could use multiple sentiments. You could do something like hello love or something like that, and then you can cut 2 out at a time. So that's what it looks like when it's all finished, and I have them all laid out. Next up, I'm going to do a little bit of Copic coloring. And today I'm going to be using the Lovely Critter stamp set from Create a Smile, and I'm going to be stamping this really cute lion with some Memento ink so I can do some Copic coloring. There are many inks on the market now that will actually accept Copic markers and not bleed, so just check and see which one works for you. Memento has just been around since the beginning, and that's the one that I've chosen to use. So the colors I'm going to be using to color my lion are YR23, YR24, and YR27. I also added another darker shade in between because I wanted to make the lion a similar color all the way around, but I did want his mane to be a little bit different than his body. So I ended up adding another color later on as well. I'm going to speed you through the coloring process as well and explain what I'm doing as I go. Alright, so I'm starting off with the lightest color. This is the YR23, and I'm going around his whole mane. I'm trying to saturate the mane as well. As you can see, this is actually a heart-shaped. That's why the Lovely Critters, all the animals come with a heart shape. So then I went in with some E37 along the outline of it, and then I went out with YR24 and YR23. Now I wanted the mane to be darker than his body, which is why I introduced that E37 color. So now that I'm going in with the rest of his body, I'm going in with YR23 for the entire body. Then I am going to go in with YR24, and this is my usual Copic technique where I start with the lightest color, then medium, dark, then back to medium, back to light. Then I'm doing YR27 just along the edges to give him a little bit of a darker shadow, blending those edges out with YR24, and then blending everything all together with the YR23. That way you can see the mane gets a slightly darker color with that E27. I'm bringing in Y17 for the paws as well as his sort of nose-mouth area. And I am going to cut this out, leaving a little bit of a white outline around him. This isn't too bad of an image to fussy cut. It really is just a heart. It was just a little bit intricate around the tail. As you can see, I didn't go all the way inside. Since my background is quite white anyway, it was okay. So now that I have my lion there on my background, you can see that the card is slowly coming together. Just going to attach the lion with a piece of 3M 3D foam tape and attach him onto my card. As a final finishing touch that unfortunately you can't see too well on the actual screen, I added some Wink of Stella glitter. You can sort of see the shimmer that is going on the screen, but unfortunately won't show up in the photo, but it is a really, really cute thing to sort of add to the card. So I did his mane and as well as his tail, which I think just adds a really cute addition to it. Next up, I wanted to add a sentiment to the card. Even though it has the love in the background, I still felt it was missing something. So I decided to stamp a sentiment in black to make it really bold and outline it with one of these chipboard shapes from Create a Smile. That is the speech bubble. I'm going to be stamping the You're So Lovely sentiment that comes with the Lovely Critter stamp set. I thought that was a really cute idea, and it really makes the card quite neutral. So you can use this for a little girl, a little boy, you can use this for a Valentine's Day card, really for anything. And you can interchange the color that you use in the background to blue or green or whatever to make it sort of the color that you'd like. So it's always a fun idea. So I stamped that in black ink, kind of into the speech bubble, so I knew exactly where to stamp. If I would have done this differently, I probably would have stamped the You're So and Lovely separately so that I could put them closer together. Then I'm just grabbing some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive and attaching this chipboard wood shape here. So it looks like the lion is saying that. And that's pretty much the end of the card. I just need to fold up the card base and that is it. So I have scored a line across the card at 5.5 inches so that I could fold it in half. And then I just used my bone folder to reinforce that fold. And that's the end of my card tutorial today. So I hope you enjoyed the couple of techniques and tips that I've been able to share with you today, and that you'll keep on watching my card videos for Create a Smile Steps, which appear every month on Wednesday, the last week. Here's another close-up of the card so you can take a look in natural light what it looks like. And lastly, all the supplies used are linked to below in the video description or on my blog. Thanks for sticking around to the very end. You can click up at the top to visit my blog as well as the supply list. Over on the right there's a subscribe button. Be sure to hit it so you don't miss out on a video that I make ever. And then on the moving video you can click there to go to my last video. Thanks so much for watching everyone. See you next time.